Let's check out Chris Watts. I've heard this one's pretty good, yeah? It'll keep us busy for 70 something minutes, yeah?
The drama
Sounds good, dudes.
The drama began shortly after the Frederick Police Department received a call from Nicole Atkinson, the best friend of Shannon Watts. She had arranged to drive Shannon into town that same day for a pregnancy checkup, but there was no answer when she knocked at the door, nor any response to her text messages or phone calls. After noticing her shoes were still at the front door, she became concerned and called 911.
Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. What's going on?
So, my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend.
Seems familiar, and I'm not sure why.
And I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well, and she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day. It's on Netflix?
Okay, I'm pretty sure I saw something like I haven't watched it, but I was pretty sure I saw something because this name looks really familiar.
How you doing? You seen your neighbors today? No? Okay. What's Chris's phone number?
Chris's phone number is...
Hey, Chris, Officer Coonrod for the police department. Pretty good. So, do you have any idea where your wife is? Right. What my concern is her car's here. They're saying she is diabetic. I don't want her... If she's upstairs and can't respond. Okay. About how far out are you? Okay, all right. He said like 5 minutes.
It's not a sure sign of guilty conduct, yet the fact that Chris made the officer wait for his return would have most likely alerted some minor suspicion.
It is
In
kind of
normal
weird. He had a
circumstances,
dial pad.
a husband receiving a call from the police saying they were concerned about the safety of their pregnant wife and children, in most cases, would have given them permission to immediately kick the door down.
Right.
It's a truly somber awareness to know that the man stepping out of the car had only a very short time ago dumped his infant daughter's bodies into an oil tank and buried his pregnant wife in a shallow grave.
Scott, how you doing? How's it going? So this is the only vehicle she would have? Only one that, yeah. She would drive? Okay.
The familiar routine for anyone checking for someone's presence inside a house, whether it be an emergency or otherwise, is to immediately call out to them for instantaneous reassurance. Chris remains silent, but instead feels the need to examine his wife's car before subtly sneaking through the internal garage door. He then disappears for 1 minute and 7 seconds before letting the neighbors and police officer inside. Only Chris will know what he carried out during that time period, but it's safe to assume that his curious behavior was not going unnoticed, made evident by the unsettled gaze of Nicole as he opens the door.
Mind if I come in, Chris?
There were multiple key moments captured from inside the house, which may not have been noticed immediately by the officer, but would have no doubt been gathered by forensics upon further investigation. The most overt peculiarity was Chris's interaction with his phone. The guise of his thumb movement would have given the impression he was texting someone, which would have seemed very peculiar, as the normal response would be to frantically call people rather than text given the circumstances. Hindsight gives us a clearer picture of Chris's introversion, which is that he was most likely using his phone to avoid eye contact and progressive dialogue with the officer.
True.
What time do you leave the day?
What time I leave there?
No, here.
Usually between 5:30 and 6.
All right. And was Shannon here then?
Yes. Yeah, she's still in bed.
Does she usually watch the kids, or you have daycare watch them? Or?
She usually watches the kids if they're not at school.
Okay. You guys having any kind of issues, marital issues, or?
We're going through separation.
You are? And how's that going?
It's going
civil for the most
civil,
part, or?
Yeah.
That's fucked,
Additionally,
man.
we are presented with the subtle cues of Chris's forethought cover story, being that his wife simply ran off with the kids after a breakdown in the marriage.
All the girls' blankies are gone. Their blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
Good.
The rest of Chris's conduct could be analyzed and dissected in various ways, and it would be easy to pick at certain oddities in body language and link them with signs of guilt. Yet, without the hindsight we have now, his behavior could just as easily be linked with an innocent man who is understandably concerned and frantic over the disappearance of his family. His very conservant neighbor, however, had the perceptual advantage of knowing Chris on a semi-personal level, and could analyze his kinesics in a far more accurate manner than the police officer.
You just want to go talk to him? I'm going to get his info real quick.
Kinesics means like motion.
No.
For people that don't know.
Right.
To be completely honest with you, my wife and I were kind of wondering when she was on vacation if something happened, because I've heard them full out screaming at each other at the top of their lungs, and he gets crazy.
Does he? And that's pretty recently.
Yeah. He doesn't look worried. He looks like he's trying to cover his tracks. He's normally quiet, real subdued. He's over here telling you 3 times what he took out, what he did, what he did, what he did. He's very he never talks. So the fact that he's over here blabbing his mouth makes me kind of suspicious.
This was just after the moment he had shown both Chris and the officer his surveillance footage of that same morning, capturing only Chris leaving the house after loading multiple unidentified things into his truck.
Yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and makes us turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling a U-turn. So, unless they pulled right here, but I would have caught her walking out.
Although not fully incriminating, as Shannon and the kids could have left through the back entrance, this was an extremely detrimental piece of evidence, and would have no doubt been extolled by forensics and made Chris an immediate prime suspect. The following day, Chris, for some bizarre reason, agreed to be interviewed by 2 separate news stations, where he came across as extremely unimpassioned and detached from the alarming nature of the situation.
Like, when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. I have no idea like where they went. Right now you got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent. If she wasn't here, like where did she go? Like once I got here, it was like, all right, who can I call? I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, you know, what's going on? Like if she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad. Right.
If you ever see something like this happen in real time, you should be immediately suspicious of the person taking this interview. I'm not saying everybody who does this sort of thing is immediately suspect, but at the same time, his wife and his 2 daughters have gone missing, to the knowledge of everybody else. And instead of being upset about it, he takes 2 interviews. Not 1. 2 news interviews, like 2 days after this is starting to happen. And is speaking in such a casual manner. Yeah. Immediately, no. Immediately suspicious.
No, I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. Last night, I wanted that knock on the door. I wanted to see those kids run in, just barrel rush me and just give me a hug and knock me on the ground. That's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it. I'm hoping that somebody.
What is he chuckling about?
Somebody knows something and comes forward. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
This could have been construed as shock trauma, where a person will turn numb and retreat into themselves as a means of escape. Yet the viewers watching this live from home were probably thinking what we as the retrospective audience already know. He was called in for questioning 4 hours later.
Alright, let's do this. somebody knows where these kids are. And I keep saying kids, I'm sorry, your kids and your wife. I know you're going through a lot, so we're not going to keep you here all night. Just tell me exactly what you remember.
I guarantee you the police already have him as the prime suspect.
So this 1:48 a.m.
It did mention it, Ted.
Switch chairs. That's when they come knocking. All right. When they come knocking, I got to use that key.
One of the oldest and most commonly used techniques is for the interrogator to sit between the door and the suspect. This is for the purpose of heightening the feelings of isolation and dependence. It's an indirect subliminal message, letting Chris know that the only way out of that room is through the detective. It's an excellent tool for stripping away confidence, thus increasing the telling signs and body language when information is fabricated.
4 a.m., that's when my alarm goes off for work, and I'm just get dressed, brush my teeth, everything I do upstairs.
Okay.
About 4:15, that's when I get back, slide right into bed next to her, and start having a conversation with her about having putting the house up for sale, and talking about proceeding with the separation.
Okay.
And obviously it gets pretty emotional, like we're talking about, like we felt this disconnection was there, like falling out of love. And trying to stay together, maybe just for the kids' sake, but we're realizing that doing like our homework, it's not, most of the time that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's when I got home, I opened the garage door and we went inside the house and looked everywhere, Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, nowhere to be found. Shannann's wedding ring's on her nightstand, her phone's still on the couch, her purse is still there, the medicine for the kids is still there, the car seat is still there, and there's no sign of them anywhere.
Okay.
I was just hoping that, I left all the lights on in the house, I was hoping that I'd get a knock on the door, but
Yeah,
nothing happened. Yeah, but nothing happened.
What do you think happened?
At first, I really thought maybe she was just at somebody's house, just decompressing.
Just blowing off steam.
Yeah, but after today, like with the onslaught of all the cars, all the police cars, all the news, all the canine units, it's making me lean the other direction about someone took her.
Okay.
But it's just, if someone took her, it would have to have been someone she knew. Because there's no sign of anything like being disturbed, broken.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's the way I'm leaning now. At first I thought for real she was just decompressing somewhere, I thought she was safe, even though everything in the house was left there. But now it's just, after the day with the news crews and everything, it feels more the other direction.
I don't know what the logic is for people to want to talk to the police, especially when you're literally the suspect, like you 100% are the one that did it, and you want to
early that morning,
talk.
I told her, like, the disconnection, it's there, like, it's not going away. Like,
I mean, not that he knows that, but
in the beginning.
I don't know. I guess like he feels like he should because he's
I
the
don't feel like
victim.
the love we have is there anymore.
Okay.
And it's just like, I don't feel like,
You still
if we want to get
explaining?
together for the kids, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Like,
Bring
bringing
another,
another,
what you told him?
yes,
Okay.
like, having another baby, bringing us into this relationship, do you think this is going to work
Mm.
with us being together? Or separation, I think, is going to be the best possible route for us. And that's when, like, all the crying and everything proceeded, and it was very hard just to talk about that.
Mm.
But I needed to do it face to face.
Okay.
And I needed to see her face, like, while I did it. I couldn't text, phone, whatever. I needed to be face to face and be able to see her and know that she was going to be at least reciprocating back to me.
Oh. What did she say?
She said that she wanted to kind of work on it,
Mm-hmm.
but if that's the way I was feeling, then she respects that.
What the fuck are they talking about?
1 p.m. I'm now on my way home to check on my family. Is that just because you're worried based on the conversation with Nicole? Had the police contact you by then?
No.
Okay. I arrived, sorry, go ahead.
But Nicole said she was probably going to call the cops.
Okay. All right. Now, so it sounds like Nicole's pretty worried.
Mm-hmm.
More worried than you.
Oh, so once she couldn't get anything out of her and nothing was going on in the house, I was like, all right, I gotta go home.
The sharp and sudden change of angle from baseline questioning to direct confrontation would normally make an innocent person refute or at least challenge the statement. There would also be a brief pause, as they would need time to process the allegation due to its perplexity. A guilty individual would already be in a defensive state of mind and would normally respond in a hastily modus. Instead of refuting the remark, they would accept it, but try and explain its actuality in a defensive manner.
But it sounds like Nicole was more worried.
Yeah, because like most of if she doesn't text me, like I understand that. Okay. Like sometimes that happens. Okay. But for her not to get back to her direct sales group, that was very unorthodox. Okay. So then they're at home. Police officers there. Mm-hmm. Then walk me through that. So as we go through the house, we're all. Do you immediately go through the house? Oh, like I open the garage door and I just go into the house. I'm looking. Like I just go in the garage door and I'm looking. Is the police officer saying, "Hey, let me talk to you for a minute"? No. No. Okay. What's the vibe like? I go up there, shake his hand, but I'm like opening the garage door at the same time. Okay. And then I go through, and then they're waiting at the front door. I go in, open that up, and then they come in. Oh, so they didn't go in the garage door with you? Okay. Well, they went in the garage. They didn't come in the way I did. All right. So then everybody goes in. I think that was at 4 o'clock. That's when, because the officer went over to the neighbor's house to see if he saw anything. And whose idea was that? I think it was the officer, because he just went over there. And then that's when the neighbor called him back over to show him he had some stuff from the other night. Okay. Just show him like whatever he had that put motion on it. Okay. 4 p.m. Police check neighbor security footage and question them as well. Okay. Have we talked about that? Is that where we're okay? That's where we're at. Anything else about that? No, I mean it just shows Nicole dropping her off, but her not walking up, and it shows me loading my truck up about the time that I told you I left. Okay. Can we talk about something that's kind of hard to talk about?
It's like, Chad, I need to find this switch charger for Hannah.
Like this, I have to keep an open mind on everything. Okay. And part of keeping an open mind is listening to you talk about your wife and your marriage. And the day she goes missing is the day that you guys have marital discord. Okay. So you can understand what I'm thinking about you. Yeah. What do you think about that? It makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. Like, I know, like, I've talked to a few of my friends, it's like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, I know. It's like, if people knew that we were having marital issues, they're gonna look at me, especially with the way everything looks. And it honestly just makes me sick to my stomach, because this is something that I would never do.
Yeah, of course.
Ever.
Spoiler alert, he fucking dead.
You have to look at every vantage point. This is something I would never do to my kids or my wife. At all.
This is what is known as the pause technique. After the suspect answers a question, the interrogator will remain silent while maintaining eye contact. This physical demeanor gives off the subtle cue that he expects more information to be divulged and may already know more than the suspect realizes.
I'm not sure, like, what I could do, like, to make people believe that, just because if they knew we were having marital discord, they would automatically look at me. But there's no, I would harm anybody in my family at all. I know we were having marital discord, and we had that conversation.
These fucking pauses are incredible.
She goes, we have no idea where she is, or the kids. I promise you that I had nothing to do with any of that.
He just keeps talking. He's so nervous.
Are you telling me the truth?
I'm telling you the absolute truth.
Why should I believe you?
A truthful individual will normally respond to this question with a question, such as, "Why are you asking me that?" or "What's going on here?" They will often protest the aggressive nature of the inquisition, or give a short and forceful response.
Because I'm a very trustworthy person, and the people that do know me, they know how I'm a calm person. I am not an argumentative person. I am a person who is never going to be abusive or physical in any kind of relationship. I would never harm my kids. I would never harm my wife. I mean, you can talk to any of my friends, any of her friends. They know me. They know I'm a low-key guy that's quiet. I'm not about confrontation. I'm not about anything that elevates to that level.
I commit a little murder. It's
chill. Like, if someone yells at me, screams at me, I just take it and I just try to get it by the wayside and get it back to where it's just a cool conversation to where none of that gets to that height. Because I am not that person. I've never been that person.
What the fuck? I want him to respond, keep talking, and the timer comes back.
Okay.
Damn.
Would you take a polygraph?
That would be funny.
Sure. Okay.
Polygraphs don't do anything.
Let's take a little break. I'm going to come back in here because I have a lot more questions for you. How you feeling? Looking at that picture.
Didn't he fail them? It doesn't matter. Polygraphs are not admissible in court. Polygraph is a lie detector. It's a lie detector test. But various people and studies have shown that not only can you lie, you can fake a lie on a polygraph test. So
Good. Celeste, she's rampage. She's always the one that's gung-ho. She's always the one that's just like, she's off. She's either go or sleep. She's always the one growling. She's always been, she's a tiger. Bella, she's the calm, the mothering one. She's the one that's always, you okay? You okay? You fine? Okay. She's just the sweetest little girl. She's the one that favors me more, and Celeste is the one that.
How could you do this to your own kids, man? How could you do this to your kids and do stuff like this?
I remember when they wore that dress. She just wore that dress not too long ago. I unbuttoned the back of it so I could get her pajamas on. She's like, "No, Daddy, button. I got button. I got button." I love those spaghetti strap dresses. She likes long dresses. She was a girly girl.
She was. Bruh.
I'm gonna find them, right? I need your help. When we find the guy who took him, what do you think we should do?
This is what is known as a behavior-provoking question. An innocent person will usually give what is known as a draconian response. They will immediately respond with the harshest sentence possible for the crime they are falsely being accused of committing. A deceptive individual will often give an equivocating response. This means that they will fragmentize and divert from the question to a certain degree, as a means to avoid responding to the query in its entirety.
Guys at my
They're gonna
house
come
again.
home safe, correct? When you find the guy. When we find the guy, they're gonna come home. Life in prison would be that's what I would think with 2 kids that are involved.
Yeah, he's certainly gonna get that. Potentially more. Ain't no way he's getting less than life.
That penalty is even used. Is it used in Colorado? I am not even sure. What is the death penalty? Okay. I mean, like, if these kids are not alive, like, there's nothing you could do to cope with that, to make me cope with that. If those kids are not
his own children as these and those kids, not my children
keep talking about some
or my babies. He referred to them as these kids.
Uncomfortable? No, that's fine. Okay. You've done very good in talking to me about this really hard conversation you guys had. Okay. Very good. That's sometimes hard. And I understand why sometimes someone in your position says, doesn't want to tell me about that. Because please go help me find my kids, and you don't need to know about my marriage argument, okay? So I gotta say, you've done very good at that. And I need you to keep doing that. So I need to ask you about your marriage and infidelity. Sure. Okay, tell me about it. I have never cheated on my wife. Okay. And I fully suspect she has never done that to me.
Probably not true.
The interrogator was already aware that Chris was cheating on his wife with a woman by the name of Nicole Kessinger. He had handed over his phone earlier on this interview for what he thought was for the purpose of going through his and his wife's mutual contacts to look for potential suspects. Judging by Chris's bold-faced denial, it's safe to assume he deleted all of his correspondence with Nicole beforehand. Yet he was most likely unaware that the FBI have programs that can recover every single piece of digital exchange sent from a device, even long after it's deleted.
Highly trained investigator over here, right? I see pictures of you from a few years ago, and I see you standing before me now. Okay, you've gotten pretty fit. Yes. Okay. You can imagine when guys start cheating or want to cheat, that's what happens. Yes.
I told you shit never leaves your fucking phone. They're not supposed to. They're not designed that way. You think the internet that thrives off of an algorithm that uses the information they gain from you to influence you to do shit is going to permanently remove that information? Fuck no. Fuck no.
Tell me about it.
They want all that shit. Num, 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 consume.
What do I do to help you walk out of this room and not look like the person who's responsible? You have to trust me. I had nothing to do with this act of, like, evil cruelty, whatever has happened here. Because my love for these two girls and my wife, like, I don't want anything to happen to them. I've never wanted anything to happen to them. No matter if me and my wife separate or not, or divorce or anything, I never wish harm on anybody, on a human being in general.
Yeah, they haven't talked about anything about.
Just seeing that picture,
mentioned that they're missing. He's not even.
I need them. I want them just to run through that front door and
of malice
grab me,
anywhere.
or barrel to tackle me, knock me to the floor, bust my head. I don't care.
This fucking dumbass.
The amount of love I have for my family is exponential, and it's never gonna die. And they need. I want them back.
I'm gonna see if I can find my other mic arm.
I have to have them
really
back.
quick. I'm not even gonna lie. This mic arm is fucking up.
When you walk out of this room, there's nothing I can say to a room full of police officers that's going to convince them that you have nothing to do with this. I know. You know what they think. I know all that. Yeah. Here's a guy who didn't call 911, who woke his wife up at a ridiculous hour because he was so guilty about something that he had to get it off his chest and say, I don't love you anymore, I'm leaving you. That didn't go well.
Whoa.
Okay, so what happened? She told me she wanted me to wake her up before I left.
Pog detective.
I didn't just wake her up, like, just to tell her this. Like, I woke her up. That's what she wanted to do, and we talked. Like, usually at 4 a.m. I wake up, I go down and work out. This day, I wanted to talk to her about this. I love these girls. I love these girls so much. And this picture right here, Celeste and Bella, those are my life. I helped make those kids. There's nothing in my life that means more to me than these kids. Nothing. Kids, that's your life. That's your lifeline. That's everything. Like, you make kids, they come first before anything. Kids, spouse, family. That's what it's always been.
Nothing you've told me tonight makes sense. Nothing you've told me tonight feels like the truth. Can we start over?
Sure.
Tonight's been pretty intense, I can imagine. How are you feeling?
I've slept like 2 hours last night, so I'm like running on empty right now, but
I know, I can see it. So why don't I do this? I'm sure you don't mind if we take a break for the night. And I'm sure that you are feeling some of the pressure from me. Okay? I'm going to commit to you that we're not going to stop working until we find them.
okay.
Okay? And I want to commit to you that there is going to come a time when you're going to feel this pressure from other people. I'm not the only one who thinks that there's a possibility you have something to do with this.
Like another FBI agent, like pressure, or like just like
Everyone.
okay,
Everyone, Chris.
okay.
The interrogator is clearly
Missing a
receptive to
piece.
Chris's anxiety
Fuck.
and endeavors to amplify this emotion before ending the interview. He wants to inflate Chris's apprehension as much as possible for the looming polygraph test that approaches the following day.
Tonight when you go home, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to pass out because you're so tired, okay? And that's probably not going to be what happens. Your head's going to go race, okay? So tonight when you lay down and your head starts racing, there's going to be things that come to your mind, okay? This always happens, always. It's very natural. You're going to say, I wonder why he asked me that, okay? You're going to say, screw him, how dare he accuse me, okay? You're going to say, I wonder if they thought of this, okay? And then you're going to say, I probably should have told him something, or this, or that, okay? Those are the most common things. When those thoughts come to your head, I want you to call me. And those are beautiful kids. Those kids have a good dad, and I know it.
Let's just see the picture of someone's phone.
Yeah.
So the second the officer said that he didn't believe anything that he said, he should have immediately shut the fuck up and got a lawyer. I mean, he should have done it. I mean, because he's like a witness until basically that turning point. He should have gotten a lawyer. I mean, I'm not trying to get murderers out of jail, but just for, you know, whoever gets picked up by the police for the wrong reasons in the future, just get a lawyer. It's not an admission of guilt. It's not. They want you to feel like it is. It's not. They can't prove that by saying you asked for your civil rights, which you have a right to a public defender, bare minimum, or somebody who you know. This guy's a stupid moron. I'm shocked.
It's a better one.
Narcissistic and an idiot. What a weird combination.
I'm sorry too.
Those kids have a good dad.
The following discourse from the officer could be construed as the reframing technique, where an interrogator will try and shift the suspect's view of themselves from negative to positive, as a means to lightening the iniquity of their crimes and increasing the chances of a confession. However, this is more likely
People in
what is
jail
known
hate people
as
that harm
passive
children? Oh yeah, big
accusation,
time.
where the interrogator is almost certain of the suspect's guilt and indirectly accuses and in some manner indignifies the suspect. This is made evident by the high praises the officer gives to Chris for extremely trivial deeds.
A lot of dads don't get second pairs of clothes and cook eggs and give them snacks at night. You know, a lot of men, that's woman for it, right?
I like to get involved.
But you're not that kind of guy, okay? So can we say that tomorrow at 11 o'clock,
Okay.
we can do a polygraph?
Here.
Here. I appreciate you coming in tonight.
Fucking
All right,
what?
talk to you.
This is Tammy. Did you meet Tammy yesterday?
No,
okay.
No, I was Tammy.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Sit on this?
Yep, I know.
I mean,
I'll explain what that is here in a little bit, but you don't have to.
obviously the offer is lying to boost his ego, but it's the fact that he was like, yeah, woman's work, yeah. Thanks for doing your bare minimum as a parent. He was like, yeah, I'm a good dad. Oh, I'm a good dad. Fuck him. Fuck him.
Story. It's not on or anything right now. It's not gonna buzz you or anything. Obviously, you're probably nervous about taking today's test. Honestly, I would think something is wrong with you if you weren't nervous about coming in here to take a polygraph. Even if people are like, I don't have anything to hide, it is nerve-wracking. And I have taken tons of polygraphs. Obviously, in my training, I went to 10 weeks for training. I've been a polygrapher for about 5 years. I went to the best school in the country. So I want you to have confidence in the fact that if you had nothing to do with this disappearance, like, we're going to find that out today, okay? I have the best training that they offer in the United States.
I bet his defense tries to discredit the polygraph person.
That's the way I'm going to ask you the question. So believe me, if you had nothing to do with this, I will be able to show them that today.
This is psychological pressure disguised as reassurance. It's not a routine procedure during the pre-test phase of a polygraph exam, yet this technique will be used when the suspect's guilt is almost conclusive. Polygraphs are not a foolproof system, and they can be beaten, but with a heightened state of anxiety, it becomes considerably more challenging and unlikely. On this occasion, the polygrapher distinctly applies this technique for maximal effect.
There's actually only 2 ways you can fail a polygraph, okay? The first way would be if you fail to follow my instructions. I'm going to give you a lot of instructions today about how to sit still, how to answer questions, things like that. So if you fail to follow those instructions, you will not pass today's test.
There's more than 2, but it's all right.
The second way would be if you choose to lie to me today. You know, you did have something to do with their disappearance. It would be really stupid for you to come in and take a polygraph today, right? Like, it would be really dumb. Like, you should not be here right now sitting in this chair if you had anything to do with Shanann and the little girl's disappearance, okay?
Yeah, polygraphs are inadmissible as evidence. True.
But yeah, everything flourished from there. Like in 2011, I proposed to her over in Ocean Isle Beach. And she was just sitting there crying with a little eviction notice, and she recorded it. It was an amazing day just to see that. And then she left. I was there. Like, she had a midwife for this one, so like they actually had me like, you can stand here and like, you know, catch her, and like, but Celeste came out like so fast that like I barely had a chance to go like this, and they moved me out of the way because she just like came out.
The polygrapher will also obtain the examinee's version of the facts regarding the specific issues under investigation.
Like, I was just hoping that I would get that knock on the door or a phone call or a text. I mean, her phone, they have her phone, like hopefully maybe it's a number I don't know. Hopefully it's like, you know, like a burner phone or some kind of like phone she bought, and she could just text me and call me like, hey, I'm okay. Something. Or just get a knock on the door, and then the kids just run in.
What the fuck is he talking about?
The kids like sitting at the dinner table and like having to tell them to eat their dinner, and like I miss them throwing their chicken nuggets at me. Like, I was.
Why do a polygraph if it can't be evidence? Because the police don't care if there's evidence or not. The police care if they have enough to keep him in jail. So while it can't be used in court, they can use it to keep him detained until trial. And they can use that as a further way to get motive or more evidence from him, knowing he failed the polygraph test. So it's just more for the police to go off of. Police interrogations are separate from court cases. The police communicate a lot with the prosecution to give them evidence to put somebody behind bars, but the police don't necessarily do everything they do specifically with the prosecution in mind. It's more just like the prosecution asks if they're willing to share what they have found, and most of the time the police say yes because they get personal benefits from helping imprison a criminal for obvious reasons. So the police main cause here is to catch him with a lie that incriminates him in fact, so they can keep him in the police station.
I just want to find them. I want them to come home safe.
Or keep the pressure on him and stuff like that.
And I really hope they can just come home. it makes me feel like, all right, maybe somebody has her that's not keeping her safe, or something terrible has happened, and that's the nightmare.
And what would that terrible thing be?
That somebody hurt them.
Chris recounts a brief summary of the events and states multiple vague possibilities for his family's disappearance.
Which
The
nobody
polygrapher then
innocent
starts
would want
elect
to talk
specific
about or do.
timelines for Chris to give his account on.
You said the next thing you know is her getting into bed with you. Is that right?
I felt her get into bed. We didn't say anything because I just kind of felt it.
Okay. Do you know if she was on her phone or like how any of that works?
I don't think she was on her phone.
Was she mad at all?
I mean, crying like she was, crying like I was. I mean, yeah, I mean, she was upset, but I mean, it comes with that kind of conversation.
In the next moments, you will see another subterfuge of psychological pressure, this time disguised as routine questioning procedure. It's a vastly open-ended question relevant to the crimes under suspicion. These types of questions are common knowledge and easily clarified by the innocent, while the guilty will in most cases have severe difficulty in responding.
I know it's totally awful to think about, but what are ways, because I need to make sure that you know what I'm talking about, what are ways that you can make someone disappear?
I mean, like, if you're talking about like what I've seen like on the movies, or like how people, if you read about other people.
What a question for a polygrapher.
Like a hitman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Nope, that's what I want, because I want you to go through all of these scenarios in your head.
That's fucking
because
hilarious.
I want you to know for sure what I'm talking about when I say that, asking you if you physically caused her disappearance.
Okay, like you would hire somebody, or you have somebody that would do it. I mean, it's like, it's hard. It's a hard question.
And I know this stuff.
It's a hard question to answer.
Right.
Because it had nothing to do with this disappearance.
Right.
So like, I don't even want to think about like, if you're asking me like how I would do it, like
anyone. Like how would anyone cause someone else's disappearance?
I mean, you would.
A great question for her to ask.
I said, like,
you could cause someone's disappearance.
They haven't started? Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
They've started.
So what different physical ways could you cause someone's disappearance through murder?
They don't.
You could stab someone,
Stab
right?
someone, shoot someone.
They don't in real time display the results and stuff like the movies and shit do, where they're like, that was a lie, whatever. They don't do that. They do all of it all together, and then they print out the results and they match up the time frame with the heart rate, or whatever however the polygraph works. Like, it's not some big fancy thing that like you see like the fucking line like freaking out and shit. Like, it's all digital and they all look at it afterwards. Do most people answer that question? Probably fucking not. You really want to... Would the victim really want to hypothesize the various ways his spouse and children would have been kidnapped and killed? Probably not if they were the victim, yeah? I know I wouldn't. I'd be uncomfortable and upset and offended somebody would ask me that. But this dude's just running his fucking lips like a goddamn fucking idiot.
Hit him with a blunt object. What else is there? I mean, use a weapon like gun or a knife. I mean,
okay.
You could.
The laptop is open, guys. It's not open fully. It's closed up. I'm pretty sure it's going on.
All that kind of things. I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's open.
Think about that kind of stuff right now.
I'm pretty sure the polygraph has started.
Someone, you could drown someone.
Yeah.
You could shock someone to death. You could burn someone alive. What other ways can you think of?
She's literally asking him questions. That's her entire job, is to do that.
Like lure him into a trap, I guess.
What do you mean? What?
Like, like have somebody waiting like around the corner. And
I think it's hilarious if they're talking about this before it is. If I'm wrong, it's even funnier that he's talking about this shit without it even starting.
Sure.
So if I ask you that question on the test, Chris, are you gonna have any issue with that? About you
Like-
physically causing
going through
someone-
They're not even doing the test yet.
Yeah, like that would be a way you could cause someone's disappearance.
Okay. No, I can definitely, like, I can pass. I mean,
I mean, you could murder them, you could kidnap them, you could take them to another country, you could, you know, bury them in your backyard, you could do a million things.
Yeah.
As far as trying to conceal them.
Yeah.
Right? So that no one can find them.
Yes.
Because at this point, she's gone. So when I ask you the question on the test, I'm not asking you about guilt. I'm not asking you about, did you make her feel so horrible that she ended up leaving? I'm saying that you were the
I
one
cannot
that
believe they're
physically
discussing
caused
all of this
her
outside of the
disappear.
test, and he's just
Either
fucking
by murder,
running his mouth.
kidnapping,
What a
you know,
fucking
all of those
idiot.
things that we went through, okay?
You want me to list? You want me to list all those? Like.
No.
Oh,
You're just
okay.
gonna say no to that question.
Okay.
Right. When I ask you if you physically caused Shenan's disappearance.
It's yes or no
your
questions.
answer should be what?
No.
Right. So do you have any issues
Yes.
with that at all? And
No.
have any question about what I would mean when I was
No,
would be
that's
asking
total.
that
Like, I just like going through all those that.
I just figured all the shit on the
That's a
table
lot to
were
really
like
think
wires
about.
and stuff.
Right.
I didn't think it was like
But that's-
Trying
the
to
equipment he's
figure out,
supposed
like,
to put on.
Yeah, that was.
That's my bad.
I'm
That's
gonna
unreal.
have a bathroom break.
Thank
We've
you.
been in here quite a while. So you're gonna be taking what's called a directed lie polygraph. So what that means is
Wow.
there are gonna be questions on the
I just
test
thought it was
where
already
I'll
running and she
lie.
just
I
closed the
know it seems
laptop down
weird,
so he
but
wouldn't be
you're
able to
gonna know
look
which
at shit, and
questions
it was
these
still
are,
going
they're gonna
on.
be easy to answer. They're all gonna start with before
That's crazy.
2018.
The directed lie test has 3 types of questions. No
I'm also gonna
truth
use the bathroom,
questions.
one sec.
These are easy questions to answer, such as, are you sitting down? Or, are you wearing shoes? They serve 2 purposes. The first purpose is to provide a baseline reading for when the subject is telling the truth, and should elicit very little bodily responses. The second purpose is to disconnect the examinee's thought patterns between each question as a means for resetting their cerebration for a more accurate reading. Control questions. These are what the polygrapher just explained to Chris. Whenever she says, before 2018, at the start of a question, Chris will know he is purposely supposed to lie. Each of these questions are deliberately constructed that all answers will be responded with no. Relevant questions. These relate specifically to the crime being investigated, and the examinee will know that they are supposed to respond truthfully. A guilty subject will show a much stronger reaction to the relevant questions than to the control questions, even though they will be lying on both of them. This is due to the immediate threat posed by the relevant questions.
So I'm gonna say before 2018, did you ever lose your temper with someone you cared about? And you're gonna say,
No.
because you're telling
I'm fucking muted. All I said was the police could use this entire interview even before the polygraph. This dude is literally such a moron. What the fuck? It doesn't matter that she's not a police officer, or she might be and be polygraph trained. Like, they can literally use all of it. Fucking ridiculous.
Lie.
awesome. The test is about to begin. Please remain still. Did you write the number 1?
No.
Did you write the number 3?
No.
Did you write the number 5?
No.
This portion of the test is complete. Please remain still while I take the instrument out of operation. Okay, you can relax. How'd you feel?
This is the last time the polygrapher will have any correspondence with Chris before the real test begins. She gives him an initial compliment in a reassuring tone.
You did great.
That was.
You remembered to lie and everything. That was awesome.
That was.
This momentary boost in his confidence is then abruptly ripped away as he receives the following information.
So,
Yeah.
you obviously are a really bad liar. Have people told you that before? Like the second you tell a lie, like they can tell, like, on your face. Because the second you lied to the number 3, like, I don't know if you heard me clicking, but I had, like, turned down the sensitivity because you were starting to go off the page. So that is what I need to see as a polygrapher, because that tells me that you know it's wrong to tell a lie.
You know she like
You're
bumped that
actually
shit
having
up
that
just to
reaction
make it
when
be
you
like,
lie, so that is awesome. So thank you for being a horrible liar. No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We don't want to be good liars, so.
She cranked that shit to 11 and was like, watch this motherfucker sweat.
Thank you for being a horrible liar. And that just shows me that, you know, obviously on the test when they're asking, you know, significant stuff about your wife, If you're lying to that, it's going to be even 10 times more amplified. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, more than you know. So that was awesome. And the coolest thing about this is right now, there's only one person in this room that knows what the truth is. And in about 5 minutes, there's going to be 2 of us. So that's the coolest part, okay? And then I can go share that with them out there.
Not for Chris, it isn't.
All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
The test is about to begin. Please remain still. Do you understand I will only ask you the questions we have discussed?
Yes.
Regarding Shanann's disappearance, do you intend to answer all of the questions truthfully?
Yes.
Is your first name Christopher?
Yes.
Before 2018, did you ever lose your temper with someone you cared about?
No.
Did you physically cause Shanann's disappearance?
No.
He said no differently.
Were you born in 1985?
Yes.
Before 2018, did you ever say anything out of anger to a loved one?
No.
Are you lying about the last time you saw Shanann?
No.
He says it differently.
Are you now in the state of Colorado?
Yes.
Before 2018, have you ever wanted to hurt someone to get even with them?
No.
Every time he's supposed to lie on purpose, he has a really weak no. He goes, no. And then every time he lies on the test, he goes, no. Like he draws out his O so much farther.
Do you know where Shanann is now?
No.
No.
This portion of the test is complete. Please remain still while I take the instrument out of operation. All right, how'd you feel? Same with all of it?
I think it was the same to everything.
For ya. I'll be right back.
Okay.
What a fucking asshole, dude.
Oh my gosh, I didn't forget part of it, didn't I? So I brought Graham in here because we want to talk to you about the results, okay?
Okay.
So, it is completely clear that you were not honest during the testing, and I think you already know that. You did not pass the polygraph test.
Okay.
Okay, so now we need to talk about what actually happened. I feel like you're probably ready to do that.
I didn't lie to you on that polygraph, I promise.
Chris,
I know.
Chris, stop. It's time. Just stop for a minute. Take a deep breath. I want you to take a deep breath right now.
Bro, she got that shrimp posture right now. I'm not trying to talk shit, but she's like... Sorry, it was just really funny. That's the we got you posture.
I didn't lie to you on that polygraph, I promise.
Chris,
I know.
Chris, stop. It's time.
Just
stop for a minute. Take a deep breath. I want you to take a deep breath right now.
I can't even talk shit, dude. I got that gamer back. Half the time, anybody else get that crease in their chest because they're too busy like,
when people hold stuff
I'm
inside,
gaming.
it makes you physically ill. And I can just tell on your face, I can tell
Yeah,
you.
I know you talk. Yeah. Yeah. None of you can say no.
Just come clean and just be done with this.
This is a technique known as social exchange, an
Gamer
interpersonal persuasion
crease.
strategy in which the interrogator provides the suspect with a psychological reward in return for the information they need. In this case, she's trying to convince Chris that the alleviation of mental weight is a worthy trade for a confession. She does this in a manner that protects his self-esteem by giving him appreciative reinforcements.
And I appreciate that because you knew sitting down in that chair that you weren't going to pass today. And you knew I was going to find out because I told you that. And then you continued to stay knowing that you could at the end say, you know what, I just need to get this off my chest.
Everything that I've told you, I did not lie on this polygraph. I don't know how much I could tell you right now, like, I did not.
It's not even an option right now because you did not pass the polygraph, so I know you were being accepted, so that's not even an issue right now. The issue right now is what happened to Shanann, Bella, and Celeste.
The following tactic is called the futility technique, a building block to induce a sense in a
We've seen this
suspect
before.
that any resistance on behalf
This is
of
a very
their cause
common
is
thing for
futile
police to
due
use,
the
with or
overwhelming
without evidence.
against them. This was obviously not the case, as polygraphs are not admissible evidence, and Chris was in fact still free to leave at this point.
That's the issue right now.
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Which people don't know that. Half the time.
I know you want to tell us. I can
Police aren't going to tell you that, though.
Holding this lie in is going to do nothing for you.
I know this. Like,
Okay.
I'm not, like, trying to, like, cover things up, like...
Yeah, but you kind of are, because it's normal.
This is no longer an interview to collect
You are.
information. The
You
steps of asking questions and receiving answers is over, and the interrogators
I
are
like
now
this
in
girl.
the process of leading the suspect into a state of mental exhaustion. The
She's like,
detectives
"No,
will
you're
attentively
lying.
watch for denials
Yeah, you're
and
lying."
stop them before they can be voiced. Letting the suspect deny his guilt will only increase his confidence and prolong his cerebral stamina.
Normal people would do that. Normal people that make a mistake initially are going to go, I don't know what you're talking about, I didn't do anything. That's normal. I would expect that. That's a natural reaction that someone's going to initially lie about something like that and then eventually tell the truth. So this is your eventually telling the truth time. This is where the rubber meets the road, Chris. Like, don't let this continue any longer, please.
I'm not trying to make anything continue. Like, I want them back home, like...
But you know they're not coming back home. You know that.
I don't know in the back of my head. I hope they come back home.
But you know they're not.
Chris, Tammy and I are confused, okay? And here's what we're confused about. I told you that we've done some work overnight.
Yeah.
I told you that we've got a lot of leads, okay? That wasn't a lie.
I know.
We know a lot more than you think we do, okay?
The dossier technique is a variant of the futility technique, the only difference being that the detectives are far more cryptic and often deceptive about the evidence they have. This will hint at things in a vague manner for the purpose of escalating a suspect's uncertainty.
Where are they?
Post caption moment.
They're at. Honestly, I do not know where they are at. If I could have my babies back home right now, I would. I want them back. I want everybody back. That is the God's honest truth.
Although the detectives want to intensify Chris's psychological stress levels, they do not want him to become reactively agitated, as this could lead him to objecting and resisting every
now he
step of
starts
the way,
saying, "My
and the
babies,
interrogation
not
will
those
never get off the
children."
ground. It also significantly increases the chances of him requesting legal counsel and ending the interrogation outright. This elicits the interrogator to change approach and utilize what is known as the ego-up technique.
I have a genuine question. I heard you say this earlier, but I left for a bit and came back. You said both you with your degree and police without them can both enter into an interrogation room. What degree do you have and what would it make you? I don't get to enter that room because of my degree. I just have as much experience. I don't have experience being a detective, but detectives don't need the degree that I got to be a detective. So the experience would be being a detective, not have my degree. But one thing I did do was study how interrogations work. So I guess in one way I would be partially educated on how to commit an interrogation. But at the same time, a detective needs to be a cop who has been on the force for quite some time. Doing other things before they become a detective, let alone hold an interrogation. So, yeah, you don't need a criminology degree to do anything that they're doing. You just need to be an experienced police officer to be a detective, which I never want to do any of this. So,
where the detective will build on the self-respect of the suspect through positive reinforcement.
It is very surprising to me, and it warms my heart that You're the type of dad who can pack a bag in the morning and you know just what to put in there. You know just what to put in there as a backup in case they have an accident, okay? You know what the clothes to put in there. You know what they have for breakfast. You know what they have for a snack and a dinner and a nighttime snack. You can tell me the book you read to your daughters, okay? I know you love them. But you weren't here today lying about something else.
And he shouldn't know that because...
I know. And this is very good.
I saw her, took my breath away, and I'd never thought in a million years that could happen.
I know.
I never felt that way about anybody in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not proud of it. She accused me of it. I denied it. I cheated on her, and I feel horrible for it. Like, she was pregnant, and it was, I don't want to, I didn't hurt her.
He admitted to cheating on her,
This
yes.
is the Chris that I knew would come out.
I might have been, I think it got a little glossed over.
Because you're a truth teller. I don't think this girl did anything to hurt anybody. I'm gonna leave her out of it.
Okay.
Get back to your wife and your daughters.
Okay.
Where are they?
That I do not know. That was what I was holding back. Like, I didn't know, like, what I did. I know.
Chris, in the interview today, you weren't asked about infidelity. You were asked about...
I was holding back from last night.
That's
when
not
you
why
talked.
you failed today.
That's not how that works.
Here's the challenge that we have. We knew about Nikki, and so we didn't need to ask you about her in the polygraph.
True. Did say she was pregnant, not is pregnant.
Okay? And so that's why we didn't ask you, because we already knew the answer. Okay? We're very, very worried about your daughters and your wife. I am too. This should have been the happiest time of your marriage. Okay? You and Shanann. This should have been the happiest time. She's making a little money. She's making good money. You're making great money. You both have a job. You have beautiful kids. You have a beautiful house. You're in Colorado. Clean air, good people. Okay? And on top of that, you look pretty good now. You're pretty fit. Okay? This should have been a time in your marriage where you guys were happy and thriving and productive. Okay? And I believe that Shanann's the reason none of that happened.
This is called the how and why solution, a technique that allows the suspect to admit a lesser act and blame the victims, while at the same time minimizing the crime and motivations of his actions.
I believe that she's a controlling person. Maybe doesn't listen to you as much as she should. I think that she can do whatever she wants and you can't. Okay? I think if you were to go to a restaurant, she would order whatever the hell she wants. And as soon as you order a nice steak, she says, whoa, buddy. That's because you're a good person. And I think that she started on the path to leave the marriage. Okay? It's ironic that we're talking about you and Nikki. I think that she was...
Obviously, he's lying.
First.
But somebody who's, you know, someone like Chris probably is, would be like, yeah, definitely, fuck her.
Okay. The other thing
He's making her look bad, so he
even though she is
tries to victim blame.
Controlling, doesn't listen, does what she wants.
To get him to admit to a
kids,
lesser crime to get his foot in the door.
Because to your core, you want to take care of the people you love. Okay. And that's the reason why we want to give you an opportunity today to just help us find them. Okay. Chris, right now your dad's outside. He flew across the country to help you. Okay. You're lying to him. You're lied to everyone you talk to. And they all bought it. Will you please help us find your babies?
I want to find them. I've told you over and over, I want to find everyone.
Can you understand that some of this just doesn't make sense to us? How is it possible that a woman and 2 kids are just completely gone off the face of the earth?
I promise you, I have nothing on my hands I did nothing to those kids or her to make them vanish.
As the interrogation goes on, the constant and relentless psychological pressure essentially puts Chris at the edge of his ability to function cognitively.
the police don't know where they
It's a
are.
slow and methodical process of breaking down his resistance.
They know
while
Chris did it,
maintaining
though.
a balance of pugnacious and reassuring
Based off of him
psychological
lying on the
techniques.
test and
I just find it hard that
his
you're
consistent
talking
lying to
about
them.
having this emotional, conversation with Shanann, and you're bawling and crying together, and you have not shed one tear in 2 days that you've been here. Not one. And help me understand that, because I don't get
Watch
it.
him start crying.
These are your baby girls. And you have not shed one tear over them not being around. Chris, I lose my 4-year-old in the store for 10 seconds and I start to go panic. Panic. I have not seen any of that from you at all. Help me understand that.
I love those girls. I would never do any just because I haven't shed a tear. You get
Yeah,
it?
no, that's weird. Is that weird?
Don't look into that like I don't love my
Well,
kids.
tell me,
I love my
explain to me. You're crying with your wife that you're leaving her,
Yeah.
but you don't cry that your 2 little baby girls
I'm
are
hoping
missing?
they're still around somewhere. I'm hoping they're still somewhere.
In the next moments, you will see step 7 of the Reed interrogation technique known as the alternative question, where the suspect is given an alternative and far more morally acceptable choice for what happened.
Chris, did Shanann do something to them?
No, I don't know.
I'm serious.
I have no clue.
No, you would have known, because they didn't leave the house. Did Shanann do something to them, and then did you feel like you had to do something to Shanann?
They were at the house when I left. They were there.
They weren't there. They didn't leave. They vanished.
They were
The
there.
only way they could have left is in your truck.
Did Shanann do something?
Something happened in the house that you know about. We know that something happened to all 3 of them. But I want to know, did something happen to these baby girls first that you had to take into your own hands and deal with?
You had to clean it up for Shanann.
Chris, you gotta tell us. There's something that happened to these baby girls. Look at them.
I know. Before he came in, I was watching videos.
We have no doubt you love
Big
these
fucking
girls
whoop,
with all
Chris.
your heart. I have no doubt. But we make mistakes.
That's okay.
It's what we do with those mistakes that make us who we are.
Chris, it seems like you're thinking about it right now. What are you thinking about?
She couldn't have.
Wait, what?
Couldn't have.
Chris, it seems like you're thinking about it right now. What are you thinking about?
She couldn't have.
I feel like you cleaned up for her. I feel like that's the type of guy that you are.
Chris, this is a way to...
Not like he said she couldn't have, but...
We resolve it tonight. Unless we can talk about this more tonight, it's going to follow you forever. I promise you, when you start talking to us, you will feel better.
Chris, we're giving you a lifeline right now. You need to take it. You need to reach out and take it. Chris, you took them out of the house with their blankets and their animals. That's because you cared. That's what a caring dad does. And you either cleaned up after Shanann or you made the mistake. And I mean, I want to believe that maybe Shanann did it and you felt compelled to fix this so Shanann didn't look bad. That's what I want to
He
believe.
could have used a lawyer 2 days ago, but he hasn't
But I
at
don't know,
all.
You're not telling me that.
And it's
so
within his
it
right
makes
the
me feel
second he
worse.
walks
Like,
in there to request counsel, and he hasn't,
Not
because
to
he's a
all three of
fucking
them, like-
narcissistic idiot.
Not for anything.
What did Shanann do to him? Tell us, Chris. Chicks are crazy.
Can I talk to my dad or something?
Absolutely.
Come.
Do you want to bring him in here?
No, I just can't talk to my dad. Like, he flew across the country.
Hey, Chris,
I can't.
how about this? If we brought your dad in here, would you please tell him what happened?
And you need to realize that your dad is not going to stop loving you no matter what you tell him. You are his child, and he will not stop loving you.
Never.
Ever.
And this is not the last chapter in anyone's story at all.
Sure.
Hey, Christopher, do you have however much time you need, okay?
Sure. You can leave us in there or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us how long anything, or?
And it's, polygraph. Failed it. Yeah, because there's
Too much emotions.
it's
Good cop has entered the room.
Anything else you want to tell me? What's going on? Or what happened or anything? You know anything about?
Two pressuring cops leave the room and one comes in with an understanding nature. Good cop moment.
you know, emotional and
That's his dad?
separation and everything.
I thought he said he flew across the country. He couldn't see his dad. What? He literally was like, I can't do that. I flew across the country. Oh, they flew his dad. Okay, never mind then.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the poor dad. Whatever. Sorry, I thought it was a cop still.
What happened after that?
I mean, I'll be downstairs.
Wait, is he fucking...
Mm-hmm. What's going on? Or what happened or anything? You know anything about?
When we had that conversation that morning, it was, you know, it was emotional and told her about separation and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. What happened after that?
I mean, I'll be downstairs. I don't want to protect her.
What?
I don't want to protect her.
You don't want to protect her?
I don't know what else to say.
Huh? She hurt him?
Yeah. And
What now?
I tell her.
You hurt her? What? You smell it? Or choking?
Sure, Chris. Yeah, definitely.
In here. And then when I was downstairs, I came back up. They were gone. Talking to her about separation and everything, about
She lost him.
I don't know, like, what else to say, like,
Notice how he's immediately leaning into the alternative motive once the police gave it to him.
those are my kids. I heard like a little
This poor
commotion
dad,
upstairs,
dude.
but I didn't think anything of it.
And then you went back upstairs and she was
Never, I could see, like, she was not.
choking her. Or
How could this dude make his dad go through this? That's so messed up. That's so messed up.
They're blue.
both of them. Yeah. She choked both of them to death.
That's not really how it works, but whatever. Should have done that 2 fucking days ago, you jackass.
Rage.
What's that?
Less than 10 seconds after the mention of the word lawyer, the detectives re-enter the room and immediately reinforce Chris with non-verbal empathic communication. They
I can't believe it.
divert Chris's attention from the well-informed advice of his father to their own appreciative reception of his contemporary admittance.
Of fucking course they did.
Will you tell us what you told your dad?
Quick, quick, they said the word. Go in, go in.
She was in there on top of her. Freaked out. I ran in there and got on top of her.
What'd you do?
Blue. That was my babies. Those are my kids.
What happened?
In there.
Although not the full avowal they are pursuing, Chris has still confessed partly
It's
to
enough
the
to keep
crimes,
him.
and they now have one foot in the door. He is no longer free to leave. The interrogation now returns to a non-suggestive process, where the detectives will collect further information, where they will not contaminate with excessive or direct input.
I have no idea what's going on.
This poor fucking dad, dude.
Both my kids are blue and they're gone. So horrible for what I did. I know what to do.
Imagine having to grasp this from your child and then also figure out that he was lying and also killed your grandkids.
Tell us where they're at.
You have to keep them out of the cold.
At that first location I went to that day. I don't know what to do.
I know.
I didn't know what to fucking do. Like none of this made sense. Why would she hit my fucking girls? I'm sorry.
I know.
I know you are. I know you came in today to do the right thing. Where'd you put him? Take him out there.
In the truck.
Did Shanann fight back at all?
Bro, this poor guy's lawyer is gonna be fucking pissed.
The rage that I had after seeing that.
What an idiot.
Not much. I didn't know what else to do.
I know, so tell me what you did. I know.
I didn't know what else to do. I was so scared.
I know.
It's like, my wife just did this, and I just did that. What do I do?
Right.
You were in a tough spot. I mean, what can you do, right?
Sometimes your body just kind of takes over and...
What's gonna happen?
We're
They
gonna have
can't
to get
say.
out of there. Chris, I know they're gone, but they're still your babies, and you're still their dad.
You don't want them out there.
I don't want them out there.
And you don't want someone else to find them out there. You don't, I promise you. You give us a second so we can kind of get some things arranged. Can you do that?
What the fuck is this? This is just fucking horrible.
Yeah, well, so is you killing off your entire family. Under, like, right here it says, Mom always said. It says, Mom always said she was a nasty, evil person, but I never thought in a million years that it could happen. Notice how he's crying a lot once they called him out on not crying for 2 days. Now he's like... Uh-huh. Boo-hoo, murderer, go fuck yourself.
That's like on the old news anytime soon, as far as
No, not tonight. Whereabouts? Just Shanann and the girls. That is for Shanann, okay. And where are the girls at? In these? So, how did you...
That poor dad, dude. That's all I can think about is how the fuck... How do you even grasp that as a father?
So it sounds like, I mean, it feels like to me, now we know pretty well how to go get him. Is there anything else we need to know?
What do you think of that, Chris?
That poor fucking dad, dude. That's all I can think about.
Let my family down. Let my dad down. Let my mom,
Yeah.
sister, nephew,
Understatement.
nieces, friends, co-workers.
Can I ask you another tough question?
Nietzsche's friends. What the fuck are these captions?
When you see
What the
Shanann
hell?
choking, strangling Celeste, and you get her off of Celeste, did you think about calling an ambulance?
I see you laying there blue and limp.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never seen something like that in my life.
I don't think
I mean, she just like laid over, like nothing was.
I don't think their
moving
entire
at all.
body goes
No gas, no
blue.
breath.
Unless I don't know how
Totally
blood cells work.
Blue.
After the baseline information of Chris's version of events is gathered, he is now locked into an alibi and timeline of affairs that forensics will subsequently examine and dissect in ways so they can use it against him. The tone of the interrogation then reverts back from information gathering to a confrontational nature.
So Chris, doing this.
And if he goes against it in court, they can use that as evidence too to deny it either way. Idiot.
Job for a long time.
I know.
I know a lot about psychology and as far as like what people.
I mean, there might be some blue and strangulation marks where, like, around the area of strangulation, but they're not going to turn fucking literally full blue. When I think of the Madrina disorder, apparently those will turn off.
They still call an ambulance to see if someone can revive their child. And when the ambulance gets
Speaking of Madrinas, stream with Coffee Man himself on Monday.
What are you? Why are
Something
you
really
doing
cool
something?
too.
What are you talking about? So that's what we're used to. So that's why I want you to explain to me like what was going on in your head and.
The rage I felt for what she did, it just took over.
I would hate for Shanann to get a bad rap if she didn't have anything to do with it. You know, it's not fair.
I know.
It's not fair.
Yeah, but he's already caught,
There is no
so...
technical term for this approach, yet it's a clear attempt by the detective to interconnect to the suspect's sense of morality, which is always under the assumption that they have any.
Right, but any killer wants to survive as best as possible, so he's going to do his best to put her under the bus. For sure.
That is true.
So you're good with the public knowing that Shanann killed her daughters?
I did not hurt these girls.
Are you okay with the public knowing that Shanann?
Yes, because I did not hurt these girls.
Chris, I'm not sure I believe you.
Are you sure Shanann didn't catch you in Celeste?
No, my God.
Yes,
no.
my 5-month pregnant wife killed her other 2
You found a
children.
new life, and the only way to get that new life was to get rid of your old life.
Fuck her.
And I think that you killed these girls before their mom came home, and then killed Shanann. That's what we're kind of left at.
Wait, Chris pleaded guilty to these exact allegations 2 months later. Hold on.
Was to get rid of your old life.
Alright.
Found a new life, and the only way to get that new life was to get rid of your old life. And I think that you killed these girls before their mom came home, and then killed Shanann. That's what we're kind of left. That's what we have to believe, because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, to her point, if I walked in and my kid was decapitated, I'd call an ambulance, right? So
Knowing there's no hope.
it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up. So either you're this monster who says, I just want this young, hot girlfriend, so I'm going to kill everyone and hope it works out, or something. So I think we're very, very
I'm going to go with the monster one.
Right there it is.
I'm going to go with the
So
monster
I'm not that
one.
monster.
I'm not a monster.
Yeah, of course not.
What's going
Yep.
to happen when their cause of death comes back to you? For the girl's
It's not going to.
Okay. You sure?
I'm
Just like-
100% positive it's not going to come back.
Just
to me.
like you didn't have anything to do with her disappearance, nor knew where they were. Same thing. Yep.
Fingerprints on her
What's it gonna be? I'm not gonna leave my fingerprints. Okay. What's it gonna be? It's gonna be Shanann. Why take their bodies out of the house and bury them? I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. Okay. Nothing was gonna, I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I honestly didn't know what to do. Scared of what? Scared of what everything was gonna look like. My 2 babies were gone, and I just did that to my wife. And I was the only one left in the house. What do you expect is gonna happen? Yeah. It did look bad, right? It looked, this was a nightmare. Yeah. Okay. Yesterday when you were talking, and again, this is before we kind of got to this moment today, you mentioned that we were talking, you said, I don't know where they are, I don't know where they are, and then you said something along the lines of, whatever happened to them, this act of pure evil. What does that mean?
It's evil that I saw when I walked behind Shanann and she was on top of CC. And then I felt evil for what I did to Shanann.
Okay. So after we look at their bodies, we're gonna have a lot more questions. Things are gonna be different then, but if you're willing, we'd love to talk to you then too. Now that we know what we know, we're going to, I need to check that you don't have any weapons on you or anything like that. Do you have any weapons on you? Okay. We'll do that. We'll go to the bathroom. I'm not gonna go in the stall with you, but I'm gonna go with you. And then we'll come right back here and we'll make a decision about how the rest of the night goes. All right, so you might stand it up so I can check it.
This interrogation was a true testimony of how mental fatigue can restructure an individual's cognitive rationale. Chris maintained his innocence even after the failed polygraph, and if he had kept that stance, he would have walked out of that police department as a free man for at least another night. Yet, after a prolonged state of isolation, anxiety, and fear, coupled with the cerebral influencing tactics of the interrogators, the alleviation of getting out of that situation was in that moment perceived as enough of a luxury to exchange his freedom for it.
Chris, go and stand up for me. I'm going to have you face that wall. Lift up your hands.
What a motherfucker, dude. What an absolute trash heap.